Hello again, welcome again everyone back to the Waffle Press Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Diego Crespo, and today I have a lot of other hosts with me. But first, I'm going to introduce our regular panel here. Gina Versa, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Just good?
I'm great, I guess.
Yeah. All right. If you're not doing that good, it's all right. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what podcasts are for, talking about feelings, man.
No, everything's been going good.
All right, good. I'm glad. Also here today is Nicholas Valero. How are you?
I'm doing great.
See, he's doing great. What's wrong, Gene?
I'm pumped.
What's wrong? It's okay.
Nothing?
All right.
Jeez, you really like parading me here.
I just want to make sure you're okay. You're my
Okay.
friend. You're important to me.
Thanks.
Okay. We also have someone else, a very special guest here today, joining us in the Waffle Press Podcast.
Yeah.
He is traveling, so
Traveling?
in case there is any, it sounds like I'm phone moving around or anything like that, that's why.
We have with us our very special guest, Steele Saunders. He's been taking the world by storm with your Snoke Theory Sucks slogan.
Hey you guys, it's all of a sudden gone very jiltery on my feed. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was really strange. How you guys doing? I'm worried about one of you guys isn't doing okay.
No, yeah.
Do you need to sort that out?
No, it's okay.
No.
You know what? I think after the podcast, we'll give Gene a couple of shots. He'll start telling us what's wrong. It's okay. That's what usually happens. So,
Gene's feeling down.
yeah, Gene is the kind of person you need to get drunk first, and then he'll hug you, and then he'll tell you what's going on.
Well, that makes sense because where I met Gene was at an event with free alcohol. So
Yes.
that's why I must have seen
Yeah,
so
Gene will never pass up a place with free alcohol. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, I met you at the, I think it's Gemini party?
Yeah. Gemmer, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's a collecting website or app or something that Chris Gore's got his mitts tied into. But
Yeah.
I've never used it, but I've dealt with the staff there a few times, and they're really fun. I've done a few panels at conventions and stuff. So.
Yeah. And they threw a free party.
And great free alcohol. And I think that's an annual thing, like the
pre-Comic-Con party?
The week before Comic-Con, they have some event at Meltdown, and we get to drink for free.
Yeah,
I hope it's an annual thing.
Yeah,
me too.
That's usually what happens at Comic-Con. They have a plan, then they make a plan B, then they throw away the plan, forget you made the plan.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, no, it's awesome to have you on the show, Steele. And you were just on the Jimmy Kimmel show promoting, or excuse me, you were on the Jimmy Kimmel audience, sorry.
Yeah. It's one way to look at it. Yeah, I was in the audience, and Jimmy Kimmel, during the break, was talking to us, because we were really close up front, and he was asking me about my t-shirt, the Your Snoke Theory Sucks t-shirt, and we sort of had a bit of back and forth, and that bit's not on the show. It's like,
Okay.
the ad break's going. But, yeah, we seemed to get along pretty well. When he circus, he mentioned the t-shirt, and then they put the camera on me, and it was crazy. So that just happened on the East Coast. Like, they just showed it on the East Coast, because it's different times. And yeah, so my Twitter account is just melted by all my friends that are watching on the East Coast. And it's like, oh my god, it was awesome. I was pretty thrilled. It's
Was
very,
it?
very silly what's happened to that t-shirt over the years.
Was it more intense than Andy Serkis tweeting about it? We'll see.
No, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just so strange because I live in LA now, but I grew up in Australia, and I designed that t-shirt in Australia 2 years ago, and it's just weird that how far it's Chinese whispered up the thing where Andy Serkis is holding up a sticker on Entertainment Tonight and talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's really strange.
Yeah.
But it's cool, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's come a long way.
Cool.
Yeah, and just, going right into it, speaking of Snoke, was it The Last Jedi is coming out in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You're
2 weeks.
Cannot believe it.
14 days away, exactly.
When are you guys watching it?
I'm going to watch it open tonight.
I'm watching it on the 14th.
jumping right into Last Jedi discussion.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. I've grown up with Star Wars since I was 9 years old, and I watched the original trilogy on VHS in my bedroom and everything like that. And this movie, by far, I'm more excited about this movie than I was about The Force Awakens.
Really?
That's bold. Explain.
Because I feel like The Force Awakens it was a good start, and it did everything that it needed to do to revitalize the actual series and to get people interested back into Star Wars, and especially to have somebody behind it like Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy behind it, and both of them just so pleased with the movie, and everybody being pleased with it so far that I am excited to go watch this movie. Not only that, but also just the different theories that are just the different stuff that's going on. You know, you see it could be a Force tree, it could be Luke Skywalker having PTSD. Like, these are very interesting ideas to have inside of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Feels a lot for a movie that's about a galaxy far, far away. It feels very down to earth and stuff like that, and I really like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about this movie.
Well, really quick, I think that's kind of the beauty of Star Wars. Like, there's all this fantastical stuff, this adventure, this romance, this grandiose, epic tale. But really, Star Wars starts when this young kid looks out at the sunset, and realizes that he's not where he belongs.
He's destined for greatness.
Yeah. No, it's not even. I don't think that he's destined for greatness. It's just that he's like, nah, I don't belong here. Like, I know I'm supposed to be somewhere else. I just don't know how.
Not at Imperial Academy.
Not at Imperial Academy. No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's like a through line through the best Star Wars stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gene, what are your thoughts?
I love Rian Johnson's all his films. I randomly watched Brick one day 10 years ago and just fell in love with it and just followed his career, and it's really cool that he's doing Star Wars. I just love all the work that he's done, and the fact that he's doing a Star Wars film and probably another Star Wars film after this is just insanely cool. So I'm over the moon over it.
How do you feel about it, Steele?
When you say you're more excited about this one than The Force Awakens, I don't know. That's
What's that?
It makes me think. I feel like I'm gonna like this film more.
Okay.
And I love The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first the Star Wars film. The second half, I've got a few, I like it, but there's just a few sort of continuity things and jokes I could have done without, that sort of stuff. But it's hard, the lead up to The Force Awakens was just such bliss, and I couldn't believe it was happening. But, that said, I've had an amazing year, going towards The Last Jedi, because that's one of my favorite things is just all the fan experiences, like going to the Comic-Cons and going to Celebration and experience things with, like the trailer releases and all that stuff. I really enjoy all that. But I think I enjoyed the road to The Force Awakens more, just because it was so crazy and unbelievable, and
that it was actually happening.
And it was also me getting into Star Wars fandom, a lot more. Whereas I was a huge fan, but I was sort of just in my little corner. But it was just meeting all the people and stuff, doing the podcast. But I've debated, and it's really hard because I haven't seen the film. But the pieces are there that we can have. One of the best Star Wars films ever. Yeah. I have so much faith in Rian Johnson. I had the pleasure of interviewing him at Celebration. It's on YouTube, and he just seems to really get it in a way that, I debated this with Christian Harloff on the podcast the other week, where, is it Dave Filoni or Rian Johnson's the heir apparent? The new visionary.
Like the new Lucas?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of think Filoni is, because he was, weren't under Lucas, is maybe a bit of a photocopy. He's replicate. Ryan's sort of like seen what Lucas has done, and then has like this other vision that might, that's like might be more creative because it's not bound by the things that George Lucas whispered to Dave Filoni's ear, and like Lucas had a lot of crazy ideas that had to get filtered out.
Yeah, Diego knows this.
Yes.
Just the thing that at one point in Return of the Jedi, like Ben Kenobi was going to come back.
Yeah.
He was going to like reform and help Luke, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, or Han Solo was going to die.
Well, yeah, I do feel that Dave Filoni is much more of a purist because he actually got to. But I think it's because of the idea of he got to hear the stories from the source's mouth. You know, he spent years with George going over all these ideas for the Clone Wars and different stuff like that. And I think he kind of has an idea of where George would have liked the series to go.
He knows how much faster and more intense it should be.
But you know what? I think Filoni is a great person.
He's got these things that he's been told, but he's got the way to filter them or interpret them.
I
feel like, it's just the first draft of Lucas's ideas, so it shouldn't be really beholden to much.
Right. Would you say, what if, like, Rian Johnson is the Irvin Kershner of the, putting that out there?
What, he makes the best Star Wars film?
I mean, because, I think he is the heir apparent, but I would see, like, more of a mix of, like, maybe, like, the best parts of, like, Lucas and Irvin Kershner and maybe, what's his name? Name escapes me right now, but...
To be totally honest, I think the mastermind between for all these different things is Pablo Hidalgo. He is much more of like the puppet master of like what's going on in these movies than anybody like really like likes to.
No.
Oh.
Pablo Hidalgo knows a lot of stuff, and he's one of the main guys that are like pushing everything forward.
Yeah,
he's the people.
Like, you can't use words like puppet master and stuff like that.
That makes him sound sinister.
All right, I'll retract puppet master.
Like, he keeps a lot of the lore in check. And,
he does.
And crafts things, but the movies are written by, they're written by the director and the writer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I find it fascinating and very enlightening that he actually said this, but Pablo didn't like all the Han Solo in The Force Awakens.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Like, he sort of thought I think maybe there was too much Han in there.
Yeah, because
I dearly hope I get to clarify it with him.
Yeah, because Han is the best part of that film.
Oh, that's
one of the best parts, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a lot of best parts in that film.
I feel like it's Harrison Ford's best performance in years.
Yeah,
like
low bar.
I don't want to say best part, but he carries a lot of that film, I guess.
He does. Without Harrison Ford.
In respect to the new leads.
Yeah, okay.
In respect to them.
He very much shepherded them into the series and everything like that.
Okay, I'll clarify that. Yeah, he carries a lot of the film.
In many ways, I know some people just see him like as a Ben Kenobi stand-in. Like, he's really not. Because he's not a main character. He's very much like the perfect one of the original trio to help support the new characters in the new narrative. He's not driving the story. He's along for the story because his story needs to be resolved in that manner so the new characters can move forward, specifically Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And Harrison really wants that death scene.
Yes, and that too.
You know what? I honestly, I think when he got it, I think he didn't want it as much. Because I feel like he really enjoyed the series after working on Force Awakens.
I feel like he liked it so much because he finally got it.
Steele,
at the end of the day,
Steele, what do you think? Did Harrison Ford want to be kill off?
Yeah. I think he wanted the closure of it, and he came back, and I got to interview him just before The Force Awakens, and he sort of said that the whole thing about him wanting Han Solo to die in Return of the Jedi was a bit overdone, which I think he was pretty keen on making him die, but I don't know. I think the way it worked out was just perfect.
Yeah.
He was like, I was petrified to talk to him.
Really? Because how grumpy he's been in the interviews?
Well, I just didn't want... like, how am I going to deal with like Han Solo like not liking me?
Yeah.
So,
And
like,
Indiana Jones,
and I didn't need him to like me. I just needed him to not hate me.
You're right.
I wanted to be a positive in his day, not a negative. And I think I achieved that. We had a rapport. He touched me on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I've never touched on her again.
Shoulder.
It's infested. It's horrible. But I think the way the Han Solo story was wrapped up, and also the Harrison Ford story in Star Wars was pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Quite a treat.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of go about it and go like, what else would we do with Han? You know, what else are we gonna do with Han? Is he gonna
Have him see Luke again?
Yeah, I mean that would have been nice, like to have like the trio back together and stuff like that, in which
in many ways it makes it all the more tragic. I mean, no one talks about really how sad a movie The Force Awakens is. Where I forget who did a video essay on it, and it was really good. I just saw it this year. But they're talking about how it's not that there's no like romantic entanglements for anyone in The Force Awakens, that there's no relationships. Everyone's by themselves. The galaxy is falling apart in a way, not the way it had before.
It's very lonely.
It's a very lonely movie. And I know a lot of people say like, oh, there's a lot of repeat beats of New Hope, and like maybe it's like a Star Wars greatest hit sort of thing. But there's like a real emotional component there about moving on from the past into the future. I think, and I think now maybe that's a good way to segue into The Last Jedi expectations, apart from Rian Johnson too, who's obviously, God bless them for letting him write and direct his own Star Wars movie, because he's a really good writer and director.
Yeah.
So like, what is this all leading to then, I guess, is my question for the panel.
I guess, do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it seems like that, they're wrapping up the story of the Skywalkers. I want to say that, I'm going to go out on a limb and just that I could see that. I don't know if I don't think Rey. I don't know how related Rey is to that, but you could see that with Kylo. Some sort of closure to the Skywalker story, and also kind of closure to this chosen one that's going to bring balance to the Force that they talked all 8 movies about. What do you think, Steele?
Well, the one thing I really want to happen is Luke Skywalker to ignite the green. That's
that's everybody.
That's my dream. That's my 4-year-old boy self. That's what I want, and I'm so tied up in that. But I think another thing that's like so fascinating is all that Jedi lore that Rian Johnson's had to come up with. That we've got those books and
the Journal of the Wills.
Hopefully, he's gonna have all these amazing bits of information about the early Jedi, and I hope when you talk about who's the heir apparent, Rian Johnson's the one that's been sent off to come up with his own 3 movies. And I so hope that those 3 movies are based on all the backstory to the Jedi they had to come up with for The Last Jedi.
Honestly,
that would just be beautiful.
Like it's all his all the material he came up with for the film.
Yeah, well, like for instance, they're going to be talking about the first Jedi or early Jedi because they've got these Jedi books. In that tree. So there's going to be some exploration of the backstory of the Jedi. And you think about it in Star Wars A New Hope when George Lucas had to come up with all this backstory to make the story seem realistic. And when Ben Kenobi's talking about the Clone Wars, well, we don't know what they are, but they're just mentioned in passing. And then, years later, they became 3 films. Yeah. And I hope it's a similar situation, but maybe a little bit more contrived earlier on, but that we're going to get this information from these books in the movie, and that's going to be that Clone Wars seed for the Rian Johnson trilogy.
Yeah, that's I could see that.
I never even considered that. I love that idea.
Well, very plausible.
What was it? Well, I mean, it's just like every Star Wars like side story. They're all little stories that have literally been mentioned for 2 sentences, and then they go, okay, let's make an entire trilogy. Or let's make a movie out of that.
And then George Lucas says, "I was always thinking of that."
No, but I mean, even if you go into Rogue One, where it's literally a paragraph that wasn't even spoken, it was just shown. Of just like, oh yeah, like, you know, there was a bunch of troopers and they stole the Death Star plans. That was it. You know, no one was really supposed to ask any questions about it. They were just going, okay, that's how they got the plans. They made an entire movie out of that. Obi-Wan makes he says a line about the Clone Wars. We have an entire trilogy, which could have been 2 movies.
I have a whole thing about that, but yeah, it could have been condensed.
I think everybody has been wanting Old Republic, you know, like an Old Republic-esque movie.
Well, to Steele's thing, I don't even know if I want to see how old the Jedi Order is.
Yeah.
Like, was it before the Old Republic was even a thing? Because remember, democracy has to, you know, senates and stuff, those have to be built over time.
I think there's like...
Do you want like...
The Stone Age in space. There you go.
Do you want like the lightsaber with a battery pack on there?
Well, I don't need to see I don't need to see the literal beginning. You know, I don't need 2001: A Space Odyssey in Star Wars, but which would be kind of cool. Maybe I don't know how good it would be, but it'd be interesting. But I want to see the early roots of that. So if it's even before like this idea of an old republic, that'd be kind of cool to me.
Just something you haven't seen before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. To be honest,
that thing about a lightsaber with a battery pack, that was an actual thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was in the expanded universe that's been like.
The Legends?
Yeah, it's all
Legends.
In the Legends, they said
that
the first lightsabers had battery packs, and and that's why Jedi's techniques kind of like are always protecting like their inner area, because it was always protecting the cord to the battery pack.
That is such a deep cut. That's hilarious.
Stuff like that. Yeah, that's why like they're always like in, like that's why their moves are always like in, so that way they can protect their battery packs. It's pretty fucking funny.
Probably just because they didn't have money to spend on replacing lightsabers. But sure, why not?
They didn't have the technology. It's Stone Age lightsabers.
That's funny.
I don't know if you guys are old enough to know this, but you know, remote controls used to be connected to the video player by a cord.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, my grandmother had one of those.
Yeah.
Which aged me a lot.
See, I don't know if in the new canon that would work, because the kyber crystal powers the lightsaber. So why do you need a backpack?
Well, no, the way that they were saying is that the kyber crystal is still its power source and everything like that, but it still needs a reactor inside of it to draw its energy and stuff like that. So they were saying is that because you can't just have a kyber crystal and then put it inside of a lightsaber, you actually have to do it correctly, or else they just become a giant explosive.
Yeah.
And that was like the really dangerous thing. That's why even inside of like Clone Wars or different stuff and different lore, they even have like scenes where younglings are trying to build lightsabers and they would explode and they would kill the younglings. Like they would say it was like a really dangerous thing.
There's probably like a whole article on this on like Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, I think Clone Wars did an entire 4 episodes all about them building their lightsabers and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then like, what does that entail? Like workplace danger stuff, you know? Like, oh, we've had 0 days since our last Padawan explosion.
Well, actually, that's the reason why they have like an ancient droid who's like, he was from the Old Republic, and he actually showed, and he's the one that's like teaching them how to build the lightsabers. Was there ever since Yoda.
Cool.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I really do. I'm thinking that Last Jedi is going to give us a lot of different aspects. I'm really interested to see Canto Bite. Canto Bite sounds like a really
the casino planet?
The casino planet.
And I will also this. How disappointed is everyone that Lando is somehow not on that planet where they confirmed that he's not going to be in the movie?
Logistically?
No, they confirmed he's not in the film.
Logistically, I get it. Like as a movie story thing, I'm disappointed, but like
But wouldn't that have been like the coolest cameo?
It would be great, but Billy D. Williams is up there.
Not only that,
he's not
also,
doing well apparently.
If you go by the lore, it says that Lando kind of stopped being a scumbag and he actually became a general. Like he actually actually became like one of like he didn't become a senator, but he was like a major like military leader inside of the New Republic. Okay. So he actually became what he always wanted to attain.
Oh, I stand corrected. Maybe he's not gambling anymore.
Yeah, he might be gambling on the fun, but on like the side. He could have been on in the Harloff system.
Yeah.
When I forgot that exists. That's cool.
Yeah, he may have been in the Harloff system. When it exploded or anything like that. Who knows?
Is there any one aspect of Last Jedi you're like really looking forward to, Steele?
Well, the lightsaber igniting. That's
okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like any like the.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm just really looking forward to Luke Skywalker. I'm Rey all day. Mm-hmm. I adore her. I think she's an awesome hero, and I think she's great. I love Daisy Ridley. I love the character of Rey, but I've been waiting since 1983 to see what happens to Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I was a little kid. It was one of my earliest memories coming out. The Ewoks were just killing it at their party, and I just wanted to know what happened to Luke Skywalker afterwards.
Yeah, actually,
and I was so thrilled, or I was dismayed but thrilled. At the end of The Force Awakens, I was because when she was walking up the Jedi steps. Mm-hmm. And the music was playing, and they showed Luke, and I was it all became clear to me. I was like, oh my God, this is the end of the film, and characters don't talk at the end of Star Wars films.
Yeah.
They don't say anything. The only time
the literal passing of the torch.
Boss Nass said peace or something.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace. But apart from that, no one's saying nothing.
Right.
And so in my head, I'm like,
Luke's not going to say.
He's not going to talk. It's going to end. It's going to end. It's going to end. It's going to end. And then it goes black, and I was like, Mother.
Yeah.
You can curse on this show. It's fine.
I did think it was really funny when Mark Hamill goes back and talks about the first table reading of The Force Awakens, and they had him narrate. They had him narrate the whole thing, and every single time a scene came up, he kept on expecting, oh, this is my scene, and it wouldn't happen, and then he would go, okay, I guess it's coming later, and then this is my scene. Mm-hmm. Nope, not there. And then he got to he got to Star Killer Base, and he was like, oh, I'm definitely pulling the lights. Yeah. And then he was like, nope, it's Rey. Okay, I don't know when I'm coming into this movie, but
I so thought I cherish all my memories. The first time I see the films, the misconceptions or the surprises. I remember when Kylo Ren did that laser bolt freeze.
Yeah, that was cool.
For Dameron, and just going, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest film of all time. This is incredible. But when the lightsaber got pulled from the snow, I so thought Luke Skywalker was going to
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Any Star Wars fan immediately went Luke. That's Luke.
Yeah.
And then immediately went oh, it's alright.
And then to the film's credit and to the character of Rey, I think that would have actually diminished from the moment, because then at that point it's no longer Rey's story.
It's Luke's.
Yeah.
It's all about Luke's.
Yeah. Which I think that was Kasdan and Abrams' idea, that they were smart enough to keep him out of the story, because it's not his story, it's Rey's.
Yeah, actually, what I was telling them earlier is that if you're interested, there's a brand new book that came out with The Last Jedi, and it's all about legends of Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
And it's all about these. And it's all about these smugglers, and they're telling legends of Luke Skywalker,
secondhand accounts.
Secondhand accounts, but also there's one story where it's all about Luke Skywalker, and he's a swindler, and they're a band of people who are trying to cheat people out of their money, and stuff like that, and they were recruited by the rebellion. It's a fucking wacky story. It's it's some real anonymous backwards dealings, oh yeah, the Force isn't real and stuff it's totally hilarious. It's a really funny story just to kind of hear about oh yeah, Chewbacca is a Wookiee and he was their enforcer, and either you believed him or he would beat you up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you're really interested, go read that book. It's one hell of an interesting story.
But, I've had mixed things on that book. I'm interested to read it. I'm not going to have time to do it before the movie, but I will take some time. I think maybe it's better I don't read it before the movie. But
Yeah.
But the thing is about how like good the passing of time is that we like had that moment where we got Luke Skywalker and he didn't talk, and we all just came out of the cinemas like going, "Oh my god, I wish that like that 2 years is going to be forever.
It's going to be painful.
Oh my god, it's never going to come.
MTU.
This is oh my god, 2 years. What? And it's now like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
It's so thrilling. I just love. I love loving these films. It's so fun.
It's great. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Speaking of passage of time, since the film picks up like right after that, what is the opening crawl gonna say? Is anyone?
You already saw the movie.
No.
That's it.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's going to be talking about how exactly the First Order is regrouping.
Okay.
Maybe they got like what was it? The Resistance is now moving bases because they know exactly where they're at.
Yeah.
Different stuff like that. Because according to
Oh, well, really, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the First Order doesn't know where the Resistance is at. They never interact with the base.
no, they were going to shoot. They were going to blow up the system.
Oh, fuck, you're right. I'm sorry.
They were going to blow up the system.
I just watched this movie like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
My bad.
I'm no Star Wars.
No, but I was going to cut you off again really quick because I'm going to forget about it otherwise. When Poe walks onto the ship and he's escorted onto the First Order ship and he's looking around, that shot, he's surprised by how well organized they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
didn't understand.
Yeah,
how
everyone was kind
serious
of
a threat.
underestimating the First
That's the
Order.
great part about what was it? About some of the books and stuff like that. Like the Princess Leia book. I think it's Aftermath or no,
It's Blood Debt.
yeah.
I believe it's.
Yeah,
Someone could
something
I got
blood. I forget.
Bloodline.
Bloodline, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, my
and
mistake.
Bloodline's it's great because you can actually see the First Order coming out of the New Republic and how much they're like trying to like manipulate this New Republic Senate into becoming the First Order and everything like
Yeah,
that.
so we'll talk about them.
Great. It's also
You get to know their backstory of them.
you get to know the backstory and you get to hang out with Princess Leia for.
That was because that was a kind of a critique of Force Awakens I heard, where you don't really get enough of the First Order's standing in the universe.
And to be fair, I kind of agree with that.
Well, not only
Yeah,
that,
I
but
mean,
also,
it's fine, but
I think it also
Well,
answers a couple questions like how did Princess Leia not become the new like chancellor or like supreme senator or something like that? Like somebody
Yeah,
who's in like
that book Bloodline it's pretty incredible.
yeah.
Like if you want to know like a bit more of that sort of nitty gritty real world, how things politically are set before the Force Awakens, it's a good book. And
Also-
I'm not always like super high on all the books, but that is a gem.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to care when they blow up the Harloff system, that's always because all the characters that they show in that one scene are in that book.
Oh, really?
And
Wait, so like, doesn't J.J. Abrams have his parents in that scene?
I think so, yeah.
So are they characters
but
in the book?
But a couple of the characters that are in
Okay.
there are in the book, and you spend a lot of time with them. Like you actually get to meet the hell out of them.
And then they blow up.
And
then they
then
blow
when
up.
you see them die in Force Awakens, you're like, oh fuck! Like I really liked them.
And to get into a little bit of the criticism, just really quick, I love The Force Awakens with a passion, but I thought that was Coruscant. Like they don't really explore anything outside the main characters like at all in that movie.
Oh, I honestly I did think they blew up Coruscant
Yeah,
when it first happened because I was like, well, huh?
There was going to be another scene.
Yeah, there was.
I can't remember that character's name, but the main girl that's sort of looking at the laser.
Yeah.
And she's in the Bloodline book a lot. She's like a really close friend, like that sort of worked under Princess Leia. And there was a scene with her and Leia talking to each other, but it got cut out. So the reveal of Leia meeting Han, like it was going to be before that, and then they decided let's save Leia for that scene.
Yeah.
It was very ambiguous, and this is like a different thing, the same scene. I hated the way the laser split. I couldn't stand that. I sort of was so, like, it was one of the first questions I tweeted Pablo Hidalgo on Twitter was, what's up with that laser split? Explain that one, buddy. And he had some explanation.
Yeah.
He always does.
I just thought it was sort of like goofy
Star
the
Wars
way it
movie.
sort of split up and hit all the planets.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there are because that character is she also knows Han. She was working on like the Millennium Falcon for a while and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And you also get to find out more about Han and the fact that he's he races spaceships.
So, well, I'm gonna buy the book after this endorsement.
It's such a good. Not only that, but also by the end of the book, like, you have the biggest like what the fuck moment of like, and then the book ends and you're like, well, shit.
Well, I'll have to read it. Kind of segueing in here, just going on to Snoke. What are your thoughts on Snoke? I know it's you say
It's your brand.
it's your band.
Kind of
So
poke
we're
fun at some
curious
of the more
what you
ridiculous
think.
stuff.
Yeah.
How do you mean? Like, who do I think he is?
Well, not
Well,
how.
just what do you think the character's about? Not necessarily like, oh, he's dark play this. He's not this that. Like I personally, I don't care. I just want to be a good character. Like, what do you think motivation wise? Like,
Yeah. What do you
his
think of his
goal?
role in the film?
I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to, whatever he has to reveal is sort of the whole plot of the trilogy. Like it's him. He's the one that's driving the story or causing things to happen. So it's going to be fascinating to find out what his motivations are and see like what powers he has. But I think one thing like that I think is going to be in the film is like he's going to be pissed off with Kylo Ren and maybe Rey's going to be the new toy.
Try to.
I can kind of see that especially from the trailer. I'm very interested to see their kind of not showdown, but like them meeting, because Kylo Ren and her meet for some reason.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah, somehow, some way they meet, and it looks, in which I really, really want it to be Vader's fucking fortress. I really want
and Mustafar.
I really want it to be his Mustafar castle, like, because there's supposed to be like a lava fucking layer that's underneath the castle, and also, why would you introduce that inside of Rogue One unless it was going to come back later?
well, just because it's cool. They introduced stuff in the original Star Wars movies that never comes back.
Yeah, but I feel,
I don't know if you're going to get Mustafar in this one.
you know what? If it doesn't,
Like just say if it is in it, they've kept it so secret.
yeah, I mean, we didn't even know Mustafar was going to be in Rogue One, and then when you first see it, you're like, that's fucking Mustafar.
Right.
And everything like that. And I think that would be really interesting, especially since they're so into Darth Vader and like his legacy and stuff like that. Because his castle was just kind of left defenseless. Like no one was really there. I mean, Luke went for like a day.
Yeah, I don't think the film has time.
Probably doesn't.
Like to go there. And when you say that we know Kylo and Rey see each other, what do you refer to?
No, I'm talking about Rey and Snoke.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about Rey and Snoke.
Okay.
Because
I misheard.
Yeah.
Because there's that scene at the end of the main trailer where it looks like they're talking to each other.
Oh no, that's a total.
Yeah,
like.
they're clearly not.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all on the same page with
I
that.
had like 10 people text me and go like, dude, Kylo Ren is talking to Rey. I'm like, dude, did you see the? Like,
Have you heard of this thing called editing? Yeah.
Yeah. No, the only
Yeah, but I was saying like when I first saw the trailer, like. I was, like in those first seconds, I was like, oh my god, what the hell? But I don't know who Kylo Ren's, and this is one of the big mysteries of the film, who Kylo Ren is reaching his hand out to. That's a mystery.
Could be anyone.
But
I think it's his mom.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, it could be Rey, it could be Luke Skywalker, it could be Princess Leia. It could be like a vision that Rey's having. Do you know what I mean? It might not even be real.
It
could be a porg.
Yeah. Well, honestly, from what you
definitely who Rey's talking to is either Luke Skywalker or Chewbacca under the Falcon.
Oh no, it's Luke. It's totally Luke. Like she's begging Luke. She's begging Luke to train her, and like she's like about to leave.
Oh, you guys! I'm just driving. I'm on the freeway right now. If you don't know, but I just drove past. I'm in Huntington Beach, and just this giant, like billboard screen with the Last Jedi, like this, like Like, way bigger than any billboard, this digital screen with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So good. I just love it.
To be totally, the main reason why I think it's Leia is because if you look around him, it kind of looks like a destroyed starfighter,
Yeah.
and you can see Kylo Ren going into Leia's ship to go get her, like before he blows it up.
Yeah.
And he knows that she's force sensitive and stuff like that.
Wait, what's the thing where you can see him going into the slot hole?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
I'm
that.
not familiar. Yeah.
It's in the trailer. You can actually see his his actual ship going into the the ship carrier. That is.
Wait. Scan, you cut out a little.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. In the second trailer, you can actually see as he's blowing up most of Leia's fleet as it's trying to escape. You can see that he's going into the ship carrier, like where the docking bay is.
He's going into a dock.
Yeah.
But you don't see him stop in a docking bay, Nick.
No.
Nick, I think you're stretching.
No, I'm telling you, dude, he's going right in because why else would you be going towards a docking bay? Why would you
I
go?
just think he's weaving in and out because he's like.
Because
just a
he's
sweet
piloting.
Yeah.
No, he literally weaves into.
Well,
I will bet you a Last Jedi
we'll wait
ticket.
2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm down.
Dude.
All right.
I'm telling you, he's gonna stop. If I'm telling you, he's gonna go into that ship because he almost shoots it down, doesn't, and then
Nick will
goes
bet like
inside.
his whole
I'm
fortune
telling you,
on this.
Okay, I will. Here, let's
I
shake
will-
on it.
I will bet you
If that
$4.
doesn't happen, I will
Yeah.
pay for your movie
He's-
ticket.
he's really
If it
adamant,
happens.
okay.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah,
So-
I'm calling it now.
All right.
Gambling on the podcast.
We've done it before.
He just wants a movie ticket.
You know what? If it doesn't happen, I am more than willing to say I was wrong. But if it does, I am going to.
Dude, I'm so willing to say you're wrong.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I'm gonna.
Just like be wrong.
You know what? I was right on a lot of shit in The Last Jedi. So you
Okay.
know what?
Well, we're gonna have to wait 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Wrap up and everything like that.
Just a quick thing before we go to Fancast. How do you guys see, just because they said they were going to kind of retire Leia, have her, weave the trilogy respectfully. How do you guys, how cool, excuse me, stopping myself here. Do you feel?
How do you think they're gonna wrap up their story?
How do you think they're gonna wrap up their story? Anyone's feeling?
I think she's done so at this movie.
I don't think she's going to die. I think that it's an easy thing, especially if you don't want to kill her off or anything like that, because it'd be really weird if every single movie of all three of this trilogy, a single person from the fucking trilogy
I will sell you on how that
died.
works.
Yeah.
I will sell you completely on how that works.
Yeah.
You know what? But it does work. Honestly, it does work. Every single, every movie, a member of the trilogy dies. I mean, a member of the trio dies.
Every member of the trio dies because they're moving further and further away from the past.
Exactly, and that's fine, and I appreciate that. But I think it's an easy thing just to say that she went into hiding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that way you're not just going like. So that way people don't backlash and go, "Oh, the only reason you killed her off is because she passed away." Or something like. Honestly, I was fully up for a recast. I was very much.
No, well,
I was.
she is that character. She is Leia. It's like there's no one else. There's no one else that's Leia, dude.
No, but that's fine. I understand that.
No,
but I think
I'm with Nick on this.
I
I
think
think
it's okay.
if they had to if they were gonna keep Leia for the 9th episode, you recast it because that's probably what Carrie Fisher would have wanted. Someone
Yeah.
a woman
not
of
like-
her age
yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I personally do think that would have been what Carrie wanted. Like she would have immediately been like, no, tell the story, because she was more interested in telling a story than convenience. And I think that immediately, if she was in those shoes, she would have said recast.
Well, I'll disagree
And
with
stuff
you on
like
that.
that.
You don't think she would have said that?
But, I don't know.
She's very proactive in like women's rights.
No, I mean like her. I don't know. I can't see. It's like I don't know. I just see her. I only see Leia as Carrie Fisher. I can't.
No,
see
and I don't. I mean, it's the same thing as like
Yeah.
as Dumbledore or anybody else.
Right.
When they had to recast them because the actor died.
All tragedies.
You guys sort of cut out a little bit there. So what are you contesting about?
No, Gene is saying that he disagrees that they should have instead of Xing out Princess Leia, and because we know that her story in some way or form has to end in this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I was saying, and what me and Diego were saying was that we believe that it would have been okay if they would have just recast and continued with the same story they had. Gene is saying that no, if Carrie Fisher's not doing it, then we can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with Gene on that one. It's like the thing is there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a horrible situation that they'll put into.
Absolutely.
Like,
Right.
There's no precedent. It's so bizarre.
Right.
There's wrong answers, but there's no right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
CGI, wrong answer.
Yeah, that was my fear. After Rogue One, I was like, please don't. And then they said they wouldn't. I was like, thank you, God.
No, yeah, but the thing is that I'm gonna well up when I see In Loving Memory of Carrie Fisher at the very end of the movie. I'm gonna well up and everything else. But I still do think that you could have told the same story because Carrie Fisher was much more of a woman with a story, and a woman who loved to tell stories. That she would have very much been on the affirmation of I'm going to recast.
Yeah, but what about so you get someone to play Carrie Fisher or you get someone to play Princess Leia, and I mix up the names because even Billy Lord at Celebration said that her mum didn't know where Carrie Fisher ended and Princess Leia started.
Yeah,
and take that into consideration.
Yeah.
How does another actress? Like, how do you give that role to someone? Like, how do you give that pressure? Like, it's not just like nailing. It's not like I'm Ehrenreich that's like doing Han Solo. This is like a lady that just died, and you're trying to replicate her at the same age. Like, who wants that role?
Yeah.
You know what?
God.
Honestly, I think it would have been okay, especially if they would have went the Dumbledore route, where once one person who was playing Dumbledore died, the next person who came on, he did another aspect of what Dumbledore was. And
That's different, though.
It's 40 years.
No, and you know what it is.
No, but like it's 40 years of not like a character called Princess Leia. It's 40 years of Carrie Fisher being Princess Leia. It's not like the Harry Potter, like, when was that even written? Like, in the 90s or something?
Yeah.
We
early
didn't
90s.
we didn't have the movies till the 2000s. And, it's, like, the emotional attachment with Star Wars fans to Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, like, you are setting fire to the movie if you do that. It's just like I know, like, I want to know what the story was, even though there's no real, like, who even knows if there was, like, an outline story, like, with all the different, we don't know what's going on from Lucasfilm, but I want to know that, but it's, like, if it's your $2 billion on the line, your franchise that you're going to, like, run for the next 50 years, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I think
in a monetary aspect.
I think, I just feel like, they were faced with an impossible decision, and like you said, Steele, there's only wrong answers, and they did the best they could. So just hopefully it's a respectful ending to the character, and I think Carrie would be happy with wherever they chose. Going to the next segment here, Steele. So we do a thing called Fancast, and
I thought that's what we all did.
Oh yeah, no, of course. And we give you a suggestion, which is, usually we give someone a movie, like an action movie or something, but since it's Star Wars, we want you to fan cast Rian Johnson's new trilogy. So, as you will, pick your any actors you would want, any settings or characters that you would want to see in his new trilogy.
Okay. The actual, like, the actor thing, like picking actors,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very good at that.
Oh.
And I don't really, I don't know, I don't really have an eye for that.
Okay.
Star Wars fandom's so interesting, the way people interpret it to what they, people costume, or they make weapons, or they make podcasts, or they make songs, or they draw, they customize figures, and yeah, that's I love studying all like how people do that, but yeah, the fan casting thing, I never. I don't know. I just don't have an. I don't know. I just don't have an eye for it.
Okay.
But as far as what I want to happen in the movie, or in the like, we're talking the Rian Johnson ones, yeah.
Yes. Oh, the
his trilogy that may or may not be a prequel thing.
Yeah. So, as I was saying before, I just think it is. It, like I was begging, like on my podcast for them to go off somewhere and make a new universe, like essentially, do you know what I mean? Like go somewhere else in the universe, or my preferred thing is somewhere else in the timeline. Like, and I wanted to go back. I didn't want to go forward, and I wanted them to build everything from scratch. Like there's no TIE fighters, there's no X-wings, there's no things that look like TIE fighters, and just like have at it and build a new franchise in Star Wars. And so when like this thing got announced, I was like, oh my god, this is my dream. This is what I've been wanting. And I think when you look at it from a business point of view for Lucasfilm, it's the most profitable and gutsy and risky thing to do, because you're not relying on all this old iconography, and if it works, you've got a whole new universe of characters and vehicles and planets that you can merchandise and sell. And yeah, so I'm just thrilled. I'm also thrilled that we're going to have a trilogy, you know, if we're right, that we don't know the end to.
Yeah. It's all
like
happening somewhere in the galaxy.
I enjoyed Rogue One, and I'm looking forward to Han Solo. Like, a Han Solo film would not be in my list of things to do.
Yeah, same.
I can't think of anyone's list.
Yeah, but I hope it's a banger. I hope I have the best time ever. I hope I want to see it like 10 times, like in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
But because I don't like the looking like, I feel like even Rogue One and Han Solo, I feel like they're books trying to be movies.
Yeah.
Like, and I sort of like, you know the end, you know what happens. To go 1,000 years in the past, say, or 500 years, or 10,000 years, I don't know, but
something different.
And like, you don't know where it goes. Like, how good is that? Like, even like Star Wars. So let's see. There's 8 films, and Rogue One. I said there's 10 films. That it like, ignoring JJ's next one, and
Smart choice.
5 of them we knew how it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we know
where it's gonna go.
Like the general thing is like that Anakin becomes Darth Vader, Han Solo becomes a smuggler and survives. They get the Death Star plans, you guys. They're gonna get them.
Yeah. I mean, to be totally honest, I mean, just because I love the character so much, I wouldn't mind seeing like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano with Dave Filoni directing it.
I don't want him to direct a movie. I want him to stick to the TV shows, and I don't mean because I don't think he could do it. I think because you need someone talented to keep up the quality of the TV shows.
No, I think that's fine, but I think that Dave Filoni has earned.
Well, because I think when you talk about it like that, it's like a ranking thing, you know.
Well, I mean,
and that's not
necessarily like that. But I mean, in general, I think that Dave Filoni has been building this character.
I think you earn a film by directing other films.
I think just
and I just find Dave Filoni's great and knows the laws, developed the law, but I just think he's made some limp decisions with that cartoon.
Right.
If Ahsoka had died when she came face to face with Darth Vader at the end of season 2, man, that would have been like, the ending, and the way he always like says, this is what we might have done, and it's always cooler.
He plays it safe sometimes.
Like, Anakin's mask is broken, she can see his eye, and then she like dies. oh my god. It would have been so like, and now we've got this whole like, how many times Ahsoka, she's gone, now she's back. How many times are they going to do that?
Well, the thing is that like they haven't actually confirmed that she.
No, exactly, but they've already done that.
That's
I know.
the point. It's weak. It's weak. They haven't confirmed. We don't know whether to mourn her or not. She's going to have to come back in some way.
Yeah, but
because we need something. We need something to tell. Like whether she's going to be a spirit or real. Yeah. She has to come back. I just parked out the front of a liquor store, and I got so angry about that. The dude scratching his little tickets has looked up and has gone, "Oh, this dude."
He's having an argument right now. But no,
he is such a big Dave Filoni fan. This argument could last for hours.
No, honestly, I think the main reason in which I think it is because Dave Filoni, I don't think they would ever do an Ahsoka Tano movie or anything like that. Even if it was like end of Clone Wars, what the fuck happened? Like, how did she survive? Yeah, that because that story is a fucking amazing story on Mandalore versus Darth Maul.
Sure.
And, I think that if anyone would know how to use that character and do the story correctly, it's Dave Filoni, the man who created her.
Yeah, of course. But, I don't know. I also just think I just don't know how well Ahsoka would translate to. I don't know. I just think. I'm just glad they're going off 1,000 years somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I wanted. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a very hectic, enjoyable conversation, and this is why Star Wars is great. Because a bunch of geeks can just get around in a table or over the phone and just talk about what they think works, what doesn't, what they want to see, what they don't want to see, and theorize and just enjoy a really creative universe on film. I mean, that's the magic of movies. Star Wars is the holy grail of film franchises for that very reason. So, Mr. Steele, I'm going to call you that from now on, if you don't mind. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a blast, a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. You guys, if you want to...
where could people follow you?
After the Last Jedi, we'll do another pod. We'll talk about how wrong you were about...
You know what? I am more than willing just so that way I can prove you right.
But yeah, if any listeners want to check out another podcast, my podcast, Steele Wars, it's Steelewars. We interview a Star Wars fan or contributor of note every week. We just had Corey D. Williams actually on, Billy D. Williams' son, talking about how he wishes Lando Calrissian was also in the new films, and he also gives some amazingly cool stories from the set of the Sarlacc pit where he played Klaatu.
Oh wow!
He wrangled a job. He actually went there just to be a stand-in for his dad.
Oh,
when they were setting up, and then they needed a Klaatu, so he got to join Star Wars history there, and
that's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm pretty proud of the podcast. So if you want to check it out, we do the interview ones, and then once a week we do like a call-in show where people can actually like talk radio for Star Wars fans. So that's fun.
Okay,
cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, and just your Twitter. Can you say your Twitter and Instagram?
Oh yeah, it's just everything's at Steele Wars. So STEELEWARS.
Awesome.
Constantly tweeting and Instagramming and Facebooking. But yeah, I definitely tweet a lot.
I relate.
Hey, and I have to say, just don't get scared off if you want to hit follow. They're all quality tweets, you guys.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining us.
My pleasure, you guys. And just make sure you let us know when the episode's up. And,
of course. Yeah,
that'll be one of my quality tweets. It'll be about this podcast.
Thank you. For sure, we'll tag you the moment it's
Absolutely. You can find me at the Nick Valero on Twitter. Change it.
Yes, finally.
It's usable now. Not Nick 5 nothing.
All right.
And you can find me Gene9892, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, Diego DEWGO Waffles. We're doing a bunch of Star Wars retrospectives on everything, every Star Wars movie that's come out so far, leading up to The Last Jedi. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. We've been professionally unprofessional.